Hello, friends. I'm a little late today. Sorry about that. Tomorrow is the solstice already. And today is my last broadcast before Christmas. I won't be broadcasting next week. I'm trying to set an example. Not really. I just want some time off. But I hope you take some time off too, because it's a good time of year to take time off. Not much is going on. So we're talking about today. I want to talk about that thing that we all experience from time to time. I don't know if I had the best title for this, but I do think that we all experience feeling like a fake from time to time. Like, what am I doing here? Just realized my phone's still on. And so where's my title? Here's my title. Yeah, there it is. So, we feel like, who am I to be teaching anyone to sing, right? Or if you're a good singer and you're like, I'm a great singer, you might think, but am I a great teacher? Or if you're a good teacher, you might go, yeah, but I don't sing all the different styles that I teach. There's a lot of things that get in our way. You might have that old trope in your head, like those who can't teach. That thing. Our favorite. Isn't that our favorite? And then the messed up thing about that is that we can feel that way even when we love teaching. I don't know. I love to teach. I'm guessing you love to teach. So sometimes feeling like a fake really gets in the way of that. And if we had set out to become singers and then we found that teaching was a much better fit for us, there's all that too. So can we just start by putting that out there? That's my thing. Like, we all feel this from time to time. And often, it's often the case that the more we care about what we do, the more we care about being good teachers, the more likely we are to feel like we're not sometimes, or we're faking it sometimes. So what is up with that? So I wish I could just take a magic wand and take away your feelings of feeling fakiness, but I can't. And in a way, that's really good. But I can offer you some suggestions to address these feelings. So I have this way of thinking about it that I call my Get For plan. And I've had this in my own head. Hi, Elspeth. I've had this in my own head for a long time. And I thought, this is a thing I could share. But I don't have to just keep it for myself. So now, if you've taken any of my classes, as Elspeth had, or if you have read my book, you know that I like flexibility. Different people do things differently at different times, right? Rigid programs have never worked for me, and so I refuse to foist them upon others. So this Get For plan that I work with can be really artsy. Like, you can just jumble all the things together in one basket and take out little bits as you feel the need to address them. Thanks for the heart. And this plan can be very linear, where you set up your tasks and you break them down and you get to check them off a list. I personally like both of those systems, depending on what I'm working on. So whatever your personality is, this Get For plan will help you move forward and feel more real, right? Address your feelings of fakiness. So no more fakiness, or no more feeling like a fake sometimes. So stay with me and we will get to that. I'm Meredith Colby, and I support voice teachers to create confident teaching and singing, both teaching and singing, of microphone-based styles. I bring information to singers through media platforms and classes to help them fill in some of the gaps in their learning so that they can effectively and lovingly help their students to find their true voices. And by doing that, create prosperous voice businesses. I'm also the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High Loud. Oh, that was my Get For. There you go. There was that. Let's move on to that. There we go. How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever, which is on sale right now. And if you're on my mailing list, you got that, 75% off the paperback. Get it out of here this time of year, end of the year, all the extras out the door. If you're not on my mailing list, you can go to my website and get on my mailing list for that offer. And Money Notes introduces Neuro-Vocal Method, a way to teach healthy singing for popular styles based on brain science. Now, because this is my last broadcast of the month, I have to remind you that this month, and only this month, I am offering a $300 discount on my next Neuro-Vocal certification class. You will be glad to have this certification. This offer is only through the end of December, and this class, even without the discount, this class is an amazing value. And if you're one of the NVM teachers and you're listening, give me an amen on this. I mean, compared to other trainings you've done, first of all, it's online. So that alone saves you a lot of money. You don't have to go anywhere. It's also an in-person class. I'm there every week. They're very small classes, so you get a lot of attention. You get 9 modules, one a week, and then so little bits, and then you get to try them out. These are all applicable things you can actually bring to your actual studio. Thank you, Elspeth. I'm just gonna share that because thank you. She gave me an amen. Actual things you can use in your actual studio from week to week. Get the hang of it. Bring your questions back. The class includes 3 private sessions with me and all kinds of scripts and tools. I mean, 3 private sessions with me is kind of a lot of money right there, people. And all kinds of scripts and tools to make sure that you understand what we're doing and then have some fun in your studio, applying your new stuff. Your new learning, your new toys. There's a free book, there's class recordings, there's a wonderful community of teachers. Everybody always says they love the community of teachers, which is so nice. It's such a great class. So in fact, I'm so confident about this class that I guarantee it. I'm not kidding. I get thee to my website. There is a guarantee on this. And you go to the information page or just shoot me an email, whatever. Anyway, there's $300 savings for 11 more days. So take advantage. And if you're on my mailing list, check your inbox because the link is in there. So my freebie today is a link to the show notes because I'm going to give you a whole bunch of stuff really fast. And I don't want you to feel like you have to write it down or memorize it or whatever. Memorize this broadcast. So the show notes will help you remember what was said today, and you don't have to go and listen to it again. So just put get 4 in the chat, or get 4 put get 4 in the chat here, and or on my page, and the Neuro-Vocal bot will send you those show notes, and even on the replay, no problem. Go ahead and do that. If you're watching on YouTube, the link will be at the bottom, so you can just go straight there. The bot will also, back to Facebook land, the bot will also give you an opportunity to be reminded about my next broadcast. So please opt in for that little reminder. Oh, the bot just goes, hey, Meredith is going live, and you can go, okay, I'll be there, or I don't care, whatever. But you have to do that, otherwise it thinks my bot is spamming you. My bot, and thus me, is spamming you. So I promised the Get 4 program. Okay, so I promised you this Get 4 program, and here we go. Right? Okay, sorry, you guys. I'm being my own producer here. There we go. Okay. So the first thing, number one thing, although I'm saying these 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're not linear. So I'll say my numbers, but don't take me too seriously on those numbers, okay? So get real is the first one. So make teaching real by separating it from yourself, okay? Your business, let's talk about your teaching as your business because you make money from it. And we're going to say that your business is separate from you. And that is a thing that a lot of us don't a lot of us take a while to embrace that, right? So we start out, we're deciding we're going to teach some voice lessons. Like most people start out thinking, I'm going to teach some voice lessons because people will pay me for that. And I think I can do that. So we start out teaching voice lessons and it's just like, oh, they'll give me money and I'll teach them voice lessons. And we don't really set it up as a business. I mean, that's really typical. And then as we continue, we realize, oh, yeah, this is actually income. Like I'll have to pay taxes on this. And then we realize that that's a thing. So somewhere along the way, we realize that we need to make it separate. So that's what this like get real thing is about. So making it really separate, saying there's my business and there is me. And Michelle Marquardt DeVoe has a very in-depth class, which is called How to Run Your Voice Business Without Hating Your Boss, which walks you through how to do that. So I'm not trying to do that today, but one of the things she likes to say is, you know, if tomorrow you weren't a voice teacher anymore, you'd still be you, right? So you can separate those two things out. And I think that's so wise and so true. So first of all, separate your finances. Make sure that you have two separate accounts, one or at least two, but at the very least two. Your business has its very own bank account where the money you make from your business goes into that bank account, and the money that you spend on your business comes out of that bank account. So if you want to pay yourself, a lot of people, I did this really early in the game, instead of paying themselves, they siphon money off the top and then say, oh, this extra money will then go in my business account. So you can do that, but it's not advisable. And it doesn't help you feel like you're getting real. That's the thing. So, because that's what we're talking about today, right? We're not talking about business management strategies. We're talking about feeling real. And one of the things that will make you feel real in your studio is to let it have its own bank account and let that bank account pay you for being the voice teacher. Again, there's more on that other places, but I just want you to have that in your head. That account has its own debit or credit card, its own expenses, and you may be one of those expenses, but they're separate. Okay. So you can have a separate space. So even if even if you're teaching out of your 1-bedroom apartment or your studio apartment, create a separate space visually. Or if you are adjunct at a university, yay, you already have a separate space. But then don't bring your work home with you. Have a separate space and let your business stay in that space. That's part of getting real. Have a separate identity, right? A separate social media presence. If you are, Josie Smith voice teacher, you should have your Josie Smith page, right? Where all your high school friends and stuff interact with you. But you also need Josie Smith Studio as a separate Facebook page or a separate social media presence. Or better still, instead of Josie Smith Studio, you might have, I don't know, Singing Diva Voice Studio. That is a terrible name. Do not use that name. Think of something better. You have a much better name than that. But anyway, having your own identity for your studio is super helpful. Okay, you can have specific time. So again, I'm saying specific finances, separate space, separate identity, separate times, right? Make sure you punch in and punch out, man. You can say, it is totally okay to say to your students, I don't answer texts after 6 o'clock at night. You can do that. You do not have to be on call 24 hours. You are not an emergency room doctor. Separate space. You can have separate policies, right? How do you interact on social media? What are your communication boundaries? How do you plan for time off? How do you plan for sick days and vacations? Okay, so that's one of the things. Make teaching real by separating it from your personal self. Okay, number 2. I think that's my longest one, because the other ones kind of make sense. Will make more sense to most people. Number 2, get organized. So honor your work by organizing time and systems. And you're going to notice some of these things I say crossover, but different people think about things in different ways. So I like to sort of cover all my bases here, okay? Now, here's something that is true of pretty much everybody, which is that our brains work in categories. And if you want more on that, Daniel Levitin. Actually, there's a really good talk from the Aspen Institute, Daniel Levitin, talking about how brains work in categories. So if you don't want to read his whole book about it, you can watch him there. Anyway, so it doesn't matter if the categories in your mind make sense to anyone else, as long as they make sense to you. You got to know where your stuff is. So including your time. So organize your time. When are you teaching? When are you done? When are you doing your admin stuff? Because we all have to do admin stuff, right? Our students think that all of our time with them is spent face-to-face, but we know that's not true. We have to do other stuff too. Organize your time, like plan your vacations. If you need to plan your vacations a year out, plan them a year out to make sure that they happen. Because, and I will tell you from experience, I let many years go by where I didn't take any vacation at all because I didn't plan it. I was just living week to week. And therefore, I never had time off. Guess who got pretty burned out? Me. Okay, sick days. Everybody gets sick. Plan for that. Make sure that you have planned for sick days or short notice things, right? Because some, whatever, taking care of your family, whatever happens, short notice things. Organize some support people. If you can, if you haven't already, figure out where you need support from someone who does not have to be you. Some of the things you do have to be you, but some of the things you do not. Childcare does not always have to be you. House cleaning does not always have to be you. Those are some big obvious things, but you can also look at your own life and the way you run your voice business and say, what am I doing that doesn't have to be me? Some of it, you might decide that you need a standing date for Friday evenings so that you have someone to talk about not voice with. You might have a friend who's like way into foosball and doesn't care anything about singing, and you need to meet up with that friend every Friday night to not talk about. That might feed your soul. That might be the thing that you need. So number 3, get educated. You knew I was going to say this, right? I mean, I imagine some people who saw my little thumbnail for feeling like a fake, we're thinking, oh, she's just going to talk about taking classes. But no, it's bigger than that, but it also includes that. So regardless of the source or level of the education that you got, I'm going to bet that there were some things you did not learn in your formal education. And I know this because I talk about it all the time. For instance, you did not learn probably how to manage your finances. You did not learn how to run a business or a solopreneurship. You probably did not learn how to teach healthy singing for popular styles. You may not have learned how to teach at all. If you were in a vocal performance or a pedagogy major, then you probably didn't learn to teach at all, and you're totally winging it from the get, right? So if you don't embrace what you don't know rather than letting it pick on you, like, oh, I don't know this thing and I feel bad and I feel like a fake, right? And I'm doing that because I've done that to myself. If you don't embrace it and say, I don't know this, yay, it's an opportunity, then you're going to keep feeling like a fake. You've got to own it. You got to be curious. You got to be excited to learn. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It doesn't mean you're dumb. It means you have things to learn. And when you learn them, you will feel better. And I'm just going to take a minute here because Elspeth is here, and Elspeth is one of the people who said this to me, although I'm not quoting you, Elspeth, but she said, always room. There's always room for continuing education. It's true. But a lot of times people who take my class are people who had their education in classical training, classical music, classical singing, and they feel really confident about that, right? They know they got a program for that. They can say, hey, new student, we're going to do this and this and this and this. But then especially if they're indie teachers, their students don't want classical. So even if you can convince your students that some classical would be good for them, you can't do all classical. Eventually, you're going to have to go into the realm of popular styles or contemporary music theater, which is kind of the same or very, very similar. So then they go into that and they're like, I'm not sure I know what to do with this. How do you teach this? And they'll try to apply the same thinking that goes with classical training to popular styles. And then they feel like they're walking on marbles, right? Then that's one of those things that makes you feel like you're a fake. So again, that's what we're addressing. We don't want to feel like a fake. We want to feel confident. We want to be all up in our mojo. So those things, the business things, the marketing things, the teaching popular styles things, the how to teach at all things, all of that stuff, embrace it, enjoy it, help it, let it feed you instead of steal from you. Oh, there you go. There's the quote of the day. Let it feed you instead of steal from you. And Elspeth, you're just the star of this show today. Elspeth said, I learned so much from you, which I continue to share with my voice students and future teachers. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. And it makes you feel better, right? So you said the magic word. You said share. When we learn, and I'm a huge learner. I love to learn. I'm always changing my opinions because I'm always learning something new. And when I learn something, the joy of the learning often comes in the sharing. And when we are teachers, we're voice teachers, wow, we really have that opportunity, right? To share what we've learned and to let other people experience some growth and some new stuff in their own lives. And it's so fun. It's just great. Anyway, that's how I feel about learning. That could be its own thing. I could just go on and on about learning. Okay, and number 4, the last thing of the get for thing, I'm trying to go through this really fast because I was afraid I would talk too long, is get set up. Get set up. This is a thing that people don't often think about, especially if they are especially if they're from a place of acoustic music, so classical, choral, maybe older music theater, but even music theater is amplified now. They don't necessarily think about amplification equipment, that kind of thing. So this obviously crosses over into some of the other things that I've talked about, like getting organized and getting separate. But that's because I told you this is a flexible thing, right? You may feel more comfortable with the following items in another category. You might like them in this category. It has to make sense to you. So set up your gear. So amplification systems. If you are teaching in person, and I know a lot of us are not teaching in person. I'm not teaching in person. A lot of people are not teaching in person. But if you are teaching in person, you should have an amplification system. If you have serious students, they should have an amplification system. You guys, an amplification system costs $200. Maybe, yeah, $200. That's what it costs. If they were in any other hobby, any other endeavor, they would spend some money on equipment. Right? You don't have to feel bad asking your students of amplified styles to spend $200 on a little amplifier and a mic. I have a download that's for that. So they need to do that because in amplified music, the mic is part of the sound. The microphone, let me say it again, y'all. The microphone's part of the sound. The microphone's part of the sound. You need to get used to that. It needs to be intuitive. It needs to be organic. The student needs to be able to understand at a really essential musical level how the microphone is interacting with the sounds they are making with their singing. So you need all that to say, you need an amplification system. Your piano or keyboard, how is that interfacing with your laptop and tablet, with your software? That would be the other thing. Set up apps, right? Apps are such a godsend. I was going to think of a different word, but that's the word. A gift from the heavens to those of us who are solopreneurs. And I started when everything was paper and pencil, y'all. So I am telling you the truth. Apps, use them. Calendar apps, scheduling apps, sharing documents, music and notes and whatever else with your students. These interface apps. Zoom, Skype, CleanFeed. I use Marco Polo with a number of my international students because it's such a great. So Marco Polo is like Snapchat. You are texting via video, and you don't have to pay extra for it. And they can sing to me what they're doing, and I can video them feedback. So they're able to send me something accurate, and I'm able to respond in, when it's convenient to me, to actually what they sent me. They don't have to try to describe what they're doing. So these kind of things, like these interfaces, are just so awesome. CleanFeed in the last year has gotten so much better. If you are a classical teacher or a music theater teacher or cabaret teacher, and you are actually accompanying your students, CleanFeed will let you do that in real time. If you want to know more about that, go to Eden Atwood, yes. The Eden Show. She will help you out. She can set you up. You buy an hour of her time and say, or see if you can, anyway, and have her set you up with CleanFeed. It's amazing. So set up systems. If you already have systems in place and you don't feel like they're serving you, change them. It's okay. Figure out how your systems are working for you, where they're working, where they are not. Reorganize, optimize. This is something you're going to do periodically throughout your teaching career. It's not something that's just like, okay, I'm good for the next 20 years. Not going to happen. You get to change. You're going to have systems for your money records, for attendance, for student progress or journals, right? You're going to have for systems for goal setting, systems for really anything that matters to you. So again, all of this stuff is available. All the show notes, all this stuff that I talked about is available in the show notes, which you will get if you put, where is it? Trigger, boom. If you put get 4 in the comments on my page, the Neurovocal bot will send you a link to those show notes. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can get them in the link below. I'm Meredith Colby. Thank you so much for being here with me today or on the replay. And have a wonderful holiday season. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, or at meredithcolby.com. Don't forget, December's the month to save $300 on my class. And stay well, stay safe. Have a great week. Bye.